Okay, let's get this going. Right. So today's session here we'll be looking at for specific to nine girls, I Sec 3 IP bio here. We are going to be looking at infectious diseases in humans, right? So Advaita, you should be able to access the worksheets from the Telegram chat. So Angela, I will send it to you. Do you have access to Telegram chat? Angela, are you in the chat as well? No, later I'll send it to you, okay? Then PM today will be using this one only. Okay, so I'll later pass it to you. Okay. Right. So before we jump into the content, right, just have a quick run through the introduction slides over here. Right. This is me. So Advaita, this is me again, right? So for Angela and Payan, if you forget who am I, this is me. Right. So I've been teaching biology and chemistry for 10 years already. I was previously with the Learning Lab, and I left it to join OVERMUGGED here, and I've been teaching happily here. And these pictures here was from last year's revision event. I think this was for the Sec Force and Marine Parade and Coburn as well. Right. So outside of teaching, I love being in outdoors. Even though I have not had much opportunities to do so this year. On the background, it was me in Australia climbing and hiking lah. So it's an absolutely wonderful opportunity I had there. And I also found the opportunity to combine my two passions for teaching and climbing. So the four pictures in the foreground were of me conducting some climbing courses lah. And so if that's something that you're interested in, maybe we can run a course together there. But just something outside of it, I'm also playing the band, so that's something I do enjoy as well. So just making sure that I am fulfilling all these things that allow me to do good in the world lah, in a way. All right. So that's just a little bit about me. So Advaita, maybe I can just hear from you a little bit, Advaita. What CCA are you in, and what do you hope to achieve from attending this session, Advaita?
I'm in library club and swimming club, and I just want to revise bio a bit more because my W is over already, so I just want to learn the next topic for my syllabus.
You say that you're in library and swimming club. Did I hear you correctly?
Yeah,
Awesome. Wow. Okay. And yeah, so revision is always good over here because it's about continuously learning and not just remember once and forget it forever. Right. So don't remember once, forget forever. Huh? Okay. So we have a couple of centers scattered around Singapore, and we are in this one over here at the Takaki one. We have a couple more scattered throughout. And just sharing with you over here, I just want to zoom into this portion over here, learning resources, with emphasis on this last one. So not even just mock exams, it's just the questions we do over here in class here. It has no direct quantifiable impact on whatever you do in school because the grades over here don't translate to your the grades in school. But what does translate will be the intangible one is the how you learn and how you understand. So that's something we're looking for in terms of the benefits without any of the stress there. Okay. Let us okay. So Angela, maybe just scan this over here. Hey, don't need, you don't need this one, this one. Yeah. I can't take. Okay, so I rather you should already have the correct worksheet, right? Angela, if you don't have it already, just scan it and download get it onto your iPad. Angela, once you are ready, just let me know. Then I can move away from my screen. Awesome. Okay, so right, so by the time, right, you can just anything you can just let me know and let's get started. Okay, so since we have already learned this topic together, I will not be looking at the whole same thing again. No point, right? Like I said, I will never shortchange all of you. Okay, so we are going to be looking at it at a different angle, and I'm also going to share with you a couple more things that are a little bit more unique to this topic that I can afford to stretch you a little bit more because you are in the IP stream. So let us jump right in. We're looking at a pathogen, right? So I have it in this very nice little flow chart over here. First and foremost, help me to remember what does it mean to be a pathogen? So this one is within your syllabus one. I'm gonna remember what does it mean to be a pathogen. Uh, sorry, what? Yes. In another organism, right? Okay, so actually you can find that on page 60 of your notes. But by the time, let's write this down together. So since we are learning this separately here, so Pian, you can also do me a favor and just word it down over here as well. Right, we're going to be focusing on usually microorganisms. Sometimes you can see them like fungi, right? Sometimes you can see them, but mostly pathogens are going to be microorganisms that result in a disease when they I don't want to use the word infect, right? What does it mean to infect, right? When they grow and reproduce in another organism. Okay? Right? Microorganisms that result in a disease when they grow and reproduce in another organism. Okay, so over here in this flow chart, what I've decided to do is to present it to you in another way. And what we can see over here is pathogens, right? All of them will fall under this flow chart over here, right? They result in a disease when they grow and reproduce in another organism. Okay, the first fork in our classification over here is whether or not they are living cells. Okay, so we can see that the cellular ones are the ones that we are most familiar with, right? So, here in your syllabus, what are the two types of pathogens that we need to focus on only there? Viruses and bacteria, which is going to be bacteria. Whoa. Where will viruses be found under? The acellular one, right? So we can see that we have one from each category. So acellular obviously here tells me that it is not going to be a cell. So cellular comprising of cells or is a cell. While acellular means it has no mechanisms of being a cell at all. Okay, so Angela, what is the example of our bacterial pathogen? Angela, what's the example of our bacterial pathogen? Starts with a P. While Angela ponders upon that, Advaita, maybe you can help me with the example of a viral pathogen.
Influenza.
Sorry?
Influenza.
Absolutely, influenza. Yes, Angela. So what is the pathogen? What is our bacterial pathogen that we learn in our syllabus? Hmm? Yeah, Angela, yours is the bacterial one. Advaita's question was the virus one. That's why she gave me influenza. Payan, come help me with this, please. Wow, yes. Okay, I'll put it down there. Strep to wait, strepto or staphylo? Look, look, look. I think it's staphylo. Oh yeah, Angela, huh? Did I spell it correctly? Awesome. Let's direct our blur Angela again. Page 59. Hello, it's only on the previous page. I just now asked you to see page 60, Angela. You okay. Hi, well, we have a new friend joining in over here. All I see is a full stop. Hello, your name is Angela. Meningitis is one of the symptoms, right? The few conditions that can result from pneumococcus infection, right? Pneumococcus disease is what we are thinking of. Pneumococcus disease can result in many complications. If the infection goes to the brain, then it will result in meningitis. Do you see the relationship there? Okay, so I'm going to open your eyes to see a little bit more about the other kinds of pathogens. We have a prion, and then we have the fungal protozoa, helminth, and algae. Right? Okay, so I have found a couple of very juicy videos for us to look at, especially for the helminth ones. Right? So I hope you all are not slurping noodles as we watch the video a little bit later on. And when you watch the video, you will know why I gave this specific example of slurping noodles. But having a look at the bottom of the screen over here, what I've chosen to do is to put in this scale to help us better understand our pathogens. Because some of us may not really truly understand how small these things are. I would like to bring to your attention the bacteria, virus, and yeast over here. So yeast falls under our fungal. Okay. So this is yet another prokaryote, so it's pretty large. So this is what we're looking at. At the 1 meter scale is what we can use. If we put this human to be 1 meter tall, these are the sizes of their organs. We track back all the way down. And an atom is 0.1 nanometers at its largest diameter. So these are our pathogens. They're incredibly small. Viruses are much smaller than any of the cells. Pei, what is this weird U thingy? Micrometer. Is in standard form, it is 10 to the power of -6. So what is the standard form for my nanometer then? Okay, so this one is 1.0 times 10 to the power of -9. Well, this is so when we write down standard form, right? We must have a one space there. It's always in the one space. Why? Oh, yes, 0.1 nanometer. You're absolutely right. Okay, so this one will be, oh yeah, I get what you mean now. So 0.1, I put 0.1. So if you want to simplify it, it will therefore be, well done. Yeah, you can see that your math is better than mine. Okay, right. So this one, when we put it in standard form, we all go back down to the meter unit over there. So incredibly small. Okay, so we can see that viruses are going to be the smallest pathogens that we have. So what we're looking at here is the boxes is what instruments you need to use to be able to visualize any of these objects to the human eye. So obviously, normal human vision, we can see up to this, but to see anything here, you need to use an electron microscope or a light microscope to help our human vision see. All right, so it needs to be assisted. Okay, so we're looking at this one, the acellular prion. So it is not going to be a cell, but before we look at the prion one, right? Why are viruses acellular? Very good. So they don't have what we consider as cellular structures, right? Name me two very significant cellular structures. They don't have a nucleus. Animal cell no vacuole also. Animal cell also no vacuole what? No. Membrane, yes, the membrane. Okay, we deem it as the phospholipid membrane, right? Viruses don't have that. They don't have a nucleus, even though they do have genetic material. Okay, so that falls under your syllabus and developed viruses. Make sure we remember those structures over there. So prions are even further away from cells. There is no debate at all whether or not a prion is a living thing, because sometimes viruses, the debate can swing in favor of the viruses that they're living things. Prions are not. So first off, we understand their origin first. So firstly, all cell membranes have proteins. Okay, right? So proteins embedded. So embedded means if this highlighted line is a cell membrane, with here being the cytoplasm and here being the external surroundings, there are certain proteins that span the whole membrane. There are certain proteins that are only found on the facing on the outwards. There are some only facing the inwards. There are some that are on the membrane. And there are some that, for example, are used within the membrane only. Okay, so all of these are proteins and they serve a variety of functions. A variety of functions. What are some functions that comes to mind? What could these proteins on the cell membrane do? We talked about two very simple and commonly understood one here. All right, we can first think of attachment. Simply put, cells want to hold hands to each other, right? So when we think about it, when a cell wants to undergo cell division, for example, it doesn't want to be floating around in the body or whatever organ it is part of. It is going to attach onto a surface. So that's for the attachment proteins. Another one is going to be in this topic here. What are the proteins that protects our body from infections? What are those called? Starts with letter A. A. Whoa, come on. Pei, what about you? No, Pei. Angela, what about you? Antibodies, right? So to release the antibody, you must first be able to recognize whether or not a cell that enters the body is a foreign substance, a foreign invader, or just broken off from another part of your body. Okay, so attachment and recognition are two of the more common and easier to understand functions of proteins in the cell. Okay, so proteins got a lot, ma. So what are prions then? Prions are essentially proteins that are now of a different shape. Take note that we don't use the word denature because denature is specific for enzymes, even though enzymes are proteins. But here is only for enzymes, whereas prions are what we refer to as abnormal proteins. So have a look at this very long word over here. transmissible, spongiform, and cephalopathy. Transmissible, spongiform, and cephalopathy. Okay, transmissible. Let's try and break down those words over here. Transmissible is can spread, right? These two words, any idea? Yes, yes. So if we just try and let's try and understand these words over here. Okay, so transmissible, we're gonna pen it down as infectious because can spread ma. Okay, spongiform. PN, you say we're gonna put sponge like so it is similar, not in the sponge like not in terms of function can absorb. Sponge like in terms of structure, what it looks like. It has many holes in it. So this is a infectious disease that causes something to become sponge-like. The clue was in the previous sentence, the green highlight. In the this disease causes the brain. Sorry? Why? Why do you say so? Athlete, right? The athlete. Well, that's a unique question, right? What Pian is asking is whether or not the athlete suffix mean anything, whether it's specific. I haven't thought of that before. Let me think about it. Good question. Okay, so see. Okay, so they are transmissible, and very importantly, have a look at this. We have no cure for it. So what is this prion disease? Okay, so we some studies have hypothesized that abnormal proteins they are bad influences. They are like the friends that your mom told you not to make, right? They can induce other proteins that are healthy to undergo a change as well. This results in a huge growth and acceleration of the disease that it causes for these prions. Okay, thankfully, prion diseases are rare, affecting 0.0002% of the global population annually, thankfully. And they are inherited or acquired. So inherited means genetic, right? Is passed down from generation to generation, or acquired, meaning exposure. However, even without, it's just tomorrow, okay, suddenly you will have it. Right? So it's a very wacky disease over here. And one of it is something you all may have heard of before. Have you heard of this before? Mad cow disease. Right? So if you look at the characteristics of the signs and symptoms, mad cow disease is where the farmers notice that the cows are adopting an abnormal posture. An abnormal posture is a posture that cows should not be comfortable in, for example. Right? So it's as though their muscles are contorting and then have a spasm or weird contractions, forcing their body into a weird shape there. Um, cannot stand up properly, cannot walk, decreased milk production. And this is one of the biggest telltale signs because then it affects the livelihood of those farmers there. Okay, so that this is an animal one. Thankfully, little to very very little. I think it's also no. I can't remember really. But they are not intertransmissible. Okay, so have a look at Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, one of the more common TSC, transmissible spongiform encephalopathy, right? These are just some of the characters here. But something that's the most interesting here is this one, Kuru, sometimes known as the laughing disease. People who suffer from Kuru have been reported to quite literally laugh themselves to death. Pretty scary stuff, right? Pretty scary stuff. So, excuse me, I want to share with you a video over here on what the mad cow disease is and how it what's that is visualized in reality. If you were around in the 90s. Ooh. Angela, hope you're following along. You need to watch.
If you were around in the 90s, and especially if you lived in the UK, you might remember all the panic about mad cow disease. It's a disorder that's killed thousands of cattle since the 80s and 90s, and because a version of it can also infect humans, a lot of people were really freaked out. Today, thanks to safer farming, it probably isn't anything you need to worry about. And even though scientists still don't know exactly how it works, we can say one thing for sure. Your steak is almost definitely probably not infected.
Angela asks, why is it not mad human disease? We are looking at a prion disease that affects cows, which may also result in humans being infected, which has some similarities but are different diseases. So then this one is then which one we refer to as the Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. Okay, Angela, it doesn't have such a cool name, mad human disease, because it's far too easy and definitely get cancelled if you say someone has a mad human disease. Okay, Angela. Right, but yes, thanks for thinking about that question. Let's continue with what this mad cow disease is.
Mad cow disease is the common name for a condition called bovine spongiform encephalopathy, or BSE. It's a progressive neurological disease that affects cows, and over time it causes severe brain and nervous system damage, which eventually leads to trouble standing, walking, and changes in mood, like increased aggression and nervousness. The spongiform part of the name just means spongy, because the infection creates a bunch of holes in the cow's brain where its cells should be. The first two cases of BSE were identified in the UK in 1986, but it takes a really long time for symptoms to show up, so scientists think the first infections probably date back to the 70s. During the outbreak's peak in 1993, almost 1,000 new cattle were infected each week, but that number has gone down dramatically since then. BSE is caused by a bizarre, self-replicating protein called a prion. Other pathogens like bacteria and viruses use DNA to make copies of themselves, but a prion is just a deformed version of a normal protein that's found in cell membranes. Sometimes those proteins can go rogue and get bent out of shape, but right now we don't totally understand how or why it happens. And when those proteins become prions, they can bind to other proteins like them and make them bend in the same way. And then those messed up prions corrupt even more proteins, and so on. Clumps of them collect and spread in the brain and nervous system, eventually causing brain damage. But that takes a while, so symptoms usually don't show up until years later. All of that is terrible, but how BSE got started is almost as horrifying. It probably happened because cattle were being fed ground up meat and bones from sheep and other cows. Ugh. There's another prion disease in sheep called scrapie, and it's possible that scrapie prions may have jumped to cows through their food and caused this whole mess. But it's also possible BSE just showed up when a random protein folded the wrong way. No matter how it started, the cattle feed only made things worse, because after cows died of BSE, they were ground up and fed to healthy cows, so the disease kept going. Unfortunately, a version of the disease can infect people too. The human version of BSE is called variant Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, or VCJD, and it's also caused by bent prions. We don't know for sure that it comes from eating infected cattle, but since they're both prion diseases and both outbreaks happened around the same time, most scientists think that's the case. Like with mad cow disease, the symptoms of VCJD can take years to show up, but once they do, things move pretty quickly. Brain degeneration happens in just a few months, with symptoms like trembling, dementia, trouble walking, and eventually a coma. Since no cure exists yet, patients usually die within a year. Worldwide, there have been about 230 cases of VCJD, and about 180 of those were in the UK. The rest were mainly in Europe, and there have been only 4 cases in the United States, but they were all picked up overseas. The rate at which people have been getting infected has gone way down since the 90s, but scientists will keep studying it because there are other kinds of Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease not caused by cows. Before mad cow disease was a thing, we knew about CJD as a rare condition that could appear if a random protein went bad, usually through an inherited mutation or through medical procedures like transplants. Today, we keep the risk of variant CJD low by giving cows safer food and making sure no nervous system tissue gets into our beef. And even though the risk is small, you also can't donate blood in the US if you spent too much time in high-risk countries or got a blood transfusion in Europe, because there's a chance prions could be spread through blood too. Mainly it's those new farming practices that have really helped get the disease under control. And in 2016, there were no new reports of BSE in cows in the UK for the first time since the outbreak started, which is both exciting and a relief. Also, because mad cow disease is transmitted through nervous system tissue, there's no evidence you can get it from milk or the meat used to make things like hamburgers and steak. So your roast beef is not out to get you, which is always good to know. Thanks for watching this episode of Sci.
Okay, so that is just a pretty complex prion disease over here, the Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, as well as the bovine spongiform encephalopathy. Okay, so just going to bring my hand up back on. Right, so the second prion disease, so above bovine spongiform encephalopathy, mad cow disease, I want to bring your attention to Kuru. Kuru, as I mentioned previously, was also known as a laughing disease. And have a look at the points that I input there. Can you tell me what is the predominant cause of Kuru? Have a look at, sorry, cannibalism. Yes, let's be more specific. Cannibalism of what? Especially the brain. So this was more prevalent in the more tribal communities, but I don't think it's Africa, if I remember correctly. It's the rainforest one, but south, no, maybe the northern one, because then there will be more forests. Okay, but yeah, so this is actually something like, wow, cannibalistic, then so stupid, don't eat lah. As I've always shared with Angela and Pian, right? We need to put on the lens of people living in that community to understand why and they did these kind of things here. Okay, so if you look at this word over here, look at this. Hey, what am I doing? Oh, yeah, you're not looking at it. Yeah, look at this. Ritualistic. Why? What's the purpose? Why do you think they consume tissues from recently deceased members? That's putting a very, very slighting it, So therefore, one of the studies that one of the conclusions from certain studies that came out from this is that they were taking it as a form of remembrance and respect to the elders, especially. And they believe that, oh, they are elders, they are the wisest in the tribe there, and therefore by consuming their brains, they can impart some of their knowledge and wiseness to the living people. No. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, wait. So, just with that quick introduction of Kuru, I want to show you this very, very short snippet from a documentary, just 2 minutes long, on the story of Kuru. Come, let's have a look.
Australian scientist Professor Michael Elmers has dedicated over 15 years researching cruelty and incurable brain disease unique to Papua New Guinea. Killing lots of people, and this is a key mystery. But this obscure disease, found deep within these jungles, holds the key to unlocking vital information for understanding two of the world's most frightening diseases, mad cow disease and its human form, variant CJT. Quite clearly now, the outbreak of variant CJT is very closely tied to and although now we're looking at particular first transfer in Europe, what we're learning from our here is there's much more to come. It's a medical detective story that unearths scams. Let's even yeah. Well, so
Right, pretty cool. So Kuru is a very difficult to study disease because the incidences are not high in the developed world. It is very difficult for researchers to study people suffering from Kuru because of its remoteness. Okay, all right. But it is definitely a prion disease. And if I were to bring your attention back to our material, right? Can you all see what is the first point, the first characteristic I placed under Kuru? What is that? Non-immunogenic. What does non-immunogenic mean? Let's make a guess. Why would you say so? Okay, so Pian's suggestion is that to be non-immunogenic means that you can have multiple exposures. Is it? That is what Angela asked last week about whether or not somebody can. Is there a limit to getting COVID-19? So then, no, that's not what non-immunogenic means. Now, frighteningly, yes, I will use this word frighteningly. Frighteningly, to be non-immunogenic means does not if something is non-immunogenic and therefore does not trigger a response from the immune system, it quite literally means that the body thinks that nothing is wrong. And the first step to solving any problem is to know that there is a problem, isn't it? Yeah, come on, what are you busy with? Okay, so the very fact that Kuru is a non-immunogenic condition is that the body will not do anything at all to try and get rid of those deformed proteins, and literally it just life as goes on as it is. Right, so pretty scary and therefore very untreatable condition, unfortunately. Okay, so those are the two examples that I wanted to share with you, Kuru and mad cow disease. So that is the one of the first few unique conditions that I was sharing with you over here. The next one, look on the next page here, just generally these are our few pathogens. And the first one, the parasitic worm, that is what falls under the category of a helminth, right? And you must take note, it's not a worm, it's a worm-like parasite. A worm-like parasite. Okay, they are invertebrates definitely. So they have a very complex life cycle involving hosts because now they are living things. This is cellular. They are living things here, but without any one part of their life cycle, they cannot reproduce. So the next thing I want to share with you here is, like I said, I hope you can understand this first. The next video I want to share with you will be on an actual surgical extraction of some parasitic worms from a person's body. So let's try to understand what uh, parasitic worms are first.
Or read the title, we will talk about nematodes. Without further ado, let's begin with a quick recap. Generally speaking, parasites can be divided into two main groups, protozoa and helminths. Helminths are then subdivided into two big groups, platyhelminths, which are flatworms, and nematodes, which are roundworms. The platyhelminths group is further categorized into cystodes, which are tapeworms, and trematodes, which are flukes. Keep in mind that worms infections are often accompanied by eosinophilia. We know they seem a lot, but the good news is that we in ATP have already done videos on all of them. So
So the tapeworm one, I think is the one that you're going to be most familiar with. Have you heard of the tapeworm parasite before? No? Okay, so okay, never mind, I won't spoil the surprise.
don't worry, you can
Why
easily
later?
cover them. In this video, we will complete our series and talk about nematodes. Nematodes are also known as roundworms. They vary in size. For some organisms, they are microscopic, and some of them are tens of centimeters, like Ascaris lumbricoides. Not all nematodes are parasitic in nature, and even the parasitic ones can be plant or animal specific, which means they don't exhibit parasitic activity against humans. In this video, we will focus on clinically important human-specific nematodes. We will divide the nematodes into two big groups, intestinal, which mainly affects the GI tract, and tissue-related, which can affect different tissues, but tissue nematodes will be covered in another video, inshallah. Their names are a mouthful, so practice saying them while we go along. Let's remember this mnemonic for intestinal nematodes. East. So E for Enterobius vermicularis,
It's
A
all no need
for and the
forward.
final T. Also, don't hesitate to say it's pinworm, which can lead to enterobiasis. In the developed countries, Enterobius vermicularis is the most common type of worm infection. Now, how is it transmitted? It's transmitted fecal-orally, when humans ingest contaminated food or hands reach to the mouth that has pinworm eggs. So, it's a human-to-human transmission.
So just from this frame, right, we can see why it's very important to clean food from the farm and from the harvest, and making sure that not only are we cleaning it properly, we are also cooking it properly as well. Right? Okay, so this is the human to human transmission one. We have also animal to plant, plant to animal, or even animal to animal. For example, we have a bird to snail transmission, right? So there is this, if I remember correctly, there's this group of worms, right, that actually infect snails. When they infect the snail, right, very cool. It will actually burrow itself into the eyes of the snail. That's not that's just disgusting. Picture paints 1,000 words, but a video talks a whole lot more. This one is, oh, I suddenly remember it. This one.
Snail zombies
Remember
from
it's a snail one.
your backyard. The body of this amber snail has been invaded by leucochloridium worms, turning it into a pulsating snail zombie.
So this is a snail that has infected a worm that has a worm that has infected the snail, and its primary location is actually to go straight to the eye stalks of a snail. You know the in SpongeBob Gary the snail, his very thin eye stalks, so over here the worm has gone to the eye stalks over here. And you can think, for something that is moving so slowly, then the eye stalk suddenly pulsing like that. Okay, think about what it's trying to attract.
This is the bizarre result of the microscopic worm's journey from snail to bird and back again. After incubating in the snail, huge numbers of the parasite's larvae invade the snail's eye stalks. The larvae become vividly colored and puff up the usually slender eye stalks to resemble pulsating caterpillars. Since birds like this pied flycatcher can't resist these lures, they pick at them and end up ingesting the parasite at the same time. After all, bird guts are these worms' ideal haven for reproduction. Eventually, the bird eliminates the new worm eggs through defecation, and the snail laps up this poopy, egg-infested snack. Yum! And so, the cycle continues. But wait, there are not one, but two fascinating twists to this story. First, the snail's mind is seemingly controlled by the worms. The infected snail actually crawls into plain view of birds as the sun rises, something the snails never do on their own. It's as if the worms reprogram the snail's brain for their own nefarious purpose. Final fact?
Yeah, it's so obvious,
Some
right?
snails that have been infected actually
The snails are not
live
hiding
longer
anymore.
than those that haven't. I mean, how's that for irony?
Okay, so simply put, right, at this frame, as you can see, right, what the worm is making the snail do is tell the bird, hey, I'm here. When the bird consumes the snail, the worms that are in that snail will now be in the bird's intestinal tract. It will then continue to grow and reproduce. And when the bird drops its feces somewhere else, the worms in those feces will grow. And who loves to eat bird feces? The snails. So that is the entire complex life cycle that includes two different hosts. Okay, so those are for the snails. Thankfully, this does not happen to us, right? So the next video is actually something that unfortunately will happen to us.
Wait, does that mean Gary has
Maybe. Okay, come on, bring our attention to this video over here. This is a colonoscope, which means that doctors have inserted a camera into the intestinal tract. Now, what are we seeing over here? It's just look at that. This is the worm. Now we are looking at the folds in the intestines. Okay, and then the white colored thing over here, that is the worm already. So it's quite cool. You can see the folds in the intestinal walls, very obvious. Why not? Then suddenly you see this translucent white thingy. And then actually, you can feel it running through your intestines on it. Okay? Look at that. My goodness. Look at that. Okay? So this is, tell me, is this a round or a flat worm? Okay, so this is a round worm. However, for the tapeworm infection, right, I think the longest on record was 20 over meter long worm in a teenage girl, yes. Why do you think the teenage girl consumed it? She was scammed. Consume a weight loss drug that contains the eggs of the worms. Okay, so not to scare you, but always to share with you more. Okay, so these are different kinds. The first one, the protozoa are just unicellular or eukaryotes. Okay, they are very unique because they use many different means to move. Flagella we know already. What cell do we know has a flagellum?
what is that was yes,
Paramecium. Euglena. Paramecium doesn't have euglena. Right? So we are looking at the human sperm cell as well that has a flagellum. Now, pseudopodia Hodea here refers to foot. Pseudo is fake foot. Okay. Oh, Celia. Definitely know Celia. Where is Celia? Are you sure that's bacteria? That one is Fimbriae, isn't it? Pili. Cilia is in the respiratory tract. I will talk more about that again next time. Okay, fungal. Fungal, we definitely know already. The example of a fungal infection I wanted to share with you is this. Did I show you the cordyceps one? Yes.
It's disgusting. Looks disgusting.
Actually, have you watched the cordyceps video? This one?
Algae and slime molds race to decompose
Oh
the
yes, yes, I
matter.
remember. This is Bear Grylls voice. No, this is not the one that I want to watch. Eh. Uh, this one.
Incredibly, 80% of all insects live in jungles. Few are more successful than the ants. There can be
The narrator is the
8
OG.
individuals in a single hectare.
So David Attenborough.
But jungle ants don't have it all their own way. These bullet ants are showing some worrying symptoms. Spores from a parasitic fungus called cordyceps have infiltrated their bodies and their minds. Its infected brain directs this ant upwards. Then, utterly disorientated, it grips a stem with its mandibles. Those afflicted that are discovered by the workers are quickly taken away and dumped far away from the colony. It seems extreme, but this is the reason why. Like something out of science fiction, the fruiting body of the cordyceps erupts from the ant's head. It can take 3 weeks to grow, and when finished, the deadly spores will burst from its tip. Then, any ant in the vicinity will be in serious risk of death. The fungus is so virulent, it can wipe out whole colonies of ants. And it's not just ants that fall victim to this killer. There are literally thousands of different types of cordyceps fungi, and
I don't know what is this.
remarkably, each specializes on just one species.
Grasshopper. This one eh?
Oh, that's not. That's not.
It's a cousin of the grasshopper, it's a katydid.
Okay.
No, different already. This one is a moth, if I'm not wrong. Oh no, spider. This is then the moth. So cool, right? It like just like perfectly
But these
immobilizes.
attacks do have a positive effect on the jungle's diversity, since
Isn't it?
parasites like these stop any one.
It's very cool also.
from
This.
reaching the upper
The stick
hand.
inside, yes.
The more numerous a species becomes, the more likely it will be attacked by its nemesis, a cordyceps fungus.
So then the traditional Chinese medicine that cordyceps right just now, and Pierre, you were saying, then is it safe for human consumption or not? It's absolutely safe because there are many different kinds of cordyceps fungi, and they are all species specific.
Yeah, great. I didn't know that was it. Haha. Because it's like a small little innocent like song of getting rid of.
Well, well. Okay, right. So maybe I'll just leave my screen on here because the next video is here anyway. But maybe I can bring your attention to the materials. The next one after prokaryotes, you can see on your worksheet below after fungi is the prokaryotes one. It is cells without an endomembrane system, right? So I believe that is the next topic of the next two topics to come for your syllabus here. It's about membrane structure and transport. Biological molecules, right? Yeah. Okay. So have you heard of this word anthrax? It is a very deadly biological weapon. So let's have a look. Okay. The very fact that we put antibiotics could save your life. What kind of pathogen does it fall under? Excellent, Thea, well done.
Anthrax is a type of bacteria that can make you seriously sick. It can be used as a bioterrorism weapon. Although this is very scary, there's medicine that can keep you from getting sick if that ever happened. Even though an anthrax attack is unlikely, you should still know what to do just in case. Anthrax could be released in a city, quietly, without anyone knowing. It's microscopic, and you may not be able to see, taste, or smell it. Just a small amount of anthrax can make a lot of people sick. If you breathe in anthrax, it goes into your lungs. When anthrax germs are inside your body, they start to grow and multiply. This can happen quickly, or it could take a long time. Once it starts to grow, anthrax releases toxins or poisons that attack your body, making you sicker and sicker. Anthrax isn't contagious. You can't catch it from another person the way you might catch a cold or the flu. If you breathe in anthrax, the first thing you would need to do is take antibiotics. There are several types of antibiotics that can protect you from anthrax. During an emergency, health officials will make announcements about where to get them. Antibiotics work in two main ways: by killing the anthrax or by stopping the anthrax from growing. When anthrax can't grow anymore, it dies. It's important to take antibiotics right away, before you feel sick, so the medicine can spread out in your body and find the anthrax germs before they start to make toxins. This helps keep you from getting sick. It can take a long time for antibiotics to get rid of all the anthrax in your body. It could even take months. That's why you need to keep taking antibiotics for as long as you're directed, even if you feel fine. If you stop taking antibiotics before you're supposed to stop, the anthrax can start growing again and make you sick. Antibiotics are your best chance for staying healthy throughout an anthrax attack. They could even save your life. In some emergency situations, health officials may decide to offer an anthrax vaccine to boost the body's immune system. You would still need to take antibiotics, but the vaccine can give you added protection. Anthrax is scary, but understanding that there is something you can do to protect yourself is important. To stay healthy during an anthrax attack, take the antibiotics you are given. Keep taking them, and follow the instructions given to you by health officials.
So this was published in response likely to a series of threats of an anthrax attack by a terrorist group previously. People start exhibiting symptoms. It's a mass event. A lot of people suddenly, right? So unfortunately, it like the video started off by saying it's a bioweapon kind of thing, right? Okay, so thankfully no. It has always been and hopefully will always remain a scare. Right, so what we have right now is actually similar, just that this one wasn't released by anybody intentionally, and it was just the COVID-19 disease was caused by a random mutation that was unfortunately transmitted from to humans, resulting in this whole pandemic that we're in now. Right? Okay. Uh, Angela, any questions? And hello friend, what's your name? I see a full stop only. Hello. Full stop. How I talk to the person. Okay, so what I have prepared here, right? Instead of just jumping straight into the questions at the back, I want to challenge you to identify. This was actually if there were a lot of you all here, you can do some group discussion kind of thing. But since we only have our dear parent over here, Angela at home, and one more other friend there. Hello, hello, full stop. Do you want to talk to me? Your name is. Why? Oh, oh, that's cool. Hello, full stop, full stop. Are you there? Angela, do you know who full stop is? Are you full stop? Okay, never mind. Okay, so what I have prepared for you, right, is actually for you to do some research on your own. However, instead of that, I have prepared it- this. Okay. Oh yeah, is it Ming Xuan? I also saw the name just now, but I don't know whether it's the same person. Ming Xuan, is that you? Do you know Ming Xuan, Angela? Okay, you know what? Let's not waste time here, right? Like I said, right, this is still going to be a very important lesson for you, regardless. So I'm going to present to you with this case study of Ebola. You are going to look at the table, right, and place it accordingly in the correct category, and then filling it with the name of the disease and scientific name of the pathogen, mode of transmission, and how it affects the host. Okay, so pay attention, please, and help me to fill it up. We are going to watch two videos. The first one is on Ebola over here. So the next page also have so you can choose which one to place it under.
That's what the tiny voyage is. Too small to see. So small. It's so dangerous. Without realizing, grandfather got a little blood in his eye. He bought a chest into his body. Days went by. Then grandfather got a terrible fever and weakness. We thought it was malaria, but he was soon much worse. He had vomiting and diarrhea. His fever got even higher. I ran to get the nurse, but grandfather had already died. I was heartbroken. The nurse thought it might be Ebola, a disease caught from bushmeat, but which spreads from person to person. Others in our region had already died of this new disease. Unless we understood everything and followed the rules, it could spread further and kill many more people. She explained that Ebola was in the body fluids of someone who was sick or had died of Ebola.
Which column do you fill that up in?
Mucus, saliva, vomit, diarrhea, urine, breast milk, sexual fluids, and blood. When we touch a sick person's body fluids, the Ebola germs can get into small breaks in our skin or into our eyes, nose, or mouth. The Ebola germs spread into our body and make us sick. When one should ever touch the dead body. The nurse advised us to wash our hands with soap and water right away. She contacted the trained burial team to help us bury grandfather's body safe. The burial team came. They comforted us and explained what they had to do to protect us. The team wore protective clothing that kept them safe from the dangerous germs. They sprayed grandfather's room and his body with chlorine to destroy the Ebola germs. They put his body safely away in the bag. To prevent the spread of Ebola, no one could touch the body of anyone who had died with signs of the disease. They also banned his mattress, bedding, and clothes, anything that might have its germs. All these actions made us safer. It was too great a risk to follow all our traditions, but we still honored grandfather in the time of Ebola. Our chief gathered all the villagers together after grandfather's death. He explained that it's natural for us to feel Ebola, but if we trust in our health workers and follow their rules, we could stop the disease. The nurse explained to us, when a patient has symptoms such as fever, don't touch them. Get them to the treatment center right away. They will have the best chance of surviving and they won't spread Ebola. She advised us to wash our hands with soap and water many times a day. The whole village agreed to follow these rules. Since we all had close contact with grandfather, we were at risk of getting Ebola. We had to stay home. A health worker visited us every day to see whether we had fever or signs of sickness. We would show signs within 21 days if we had Ebola. Many days passed, and I thought we would all stay healthy. But one morning, I found my mother dying with fever. I knew I couldn't touch her. She was now contagious. My father told me. He told me he was taking my mother away to our uncle's house in the nearby village. He was afraid to take her to the treatment center, afraid he'd never see her again. I knew I had to stop them. I was young, but I stood up to both of them. I told them, hey, this could be Ebola. She must go to the treatment center right away. We needed to trust in our health workers to save her, save ourselves, and save our village. I saw in their faces that they understood. Running away would only lead to more death and suffering. My mother tested positive for Ebola. They found her in bed. At first, the health workers looked scary, but I knew they wore suits to protect themselves. At inside, they were normal people like the nurse. They took good care of my mother. They gave her fluids, medicine, and food. And helped her body stay strong to fight Ebola. I missed my mother very much, but I could still talk to her on the phone. Sadly, some people in my village didn't survive, but my mother got better day by day. Soon, we were able to see her at a safe distance. One day, the nurse announced that my mother would live. Now we were safe to hug and kiss her. It was a day to celebrate. Our village followed their rules. We trusted our health workers, brought our sick for care right away. Hope for the same burial team when one of our died, and we always washed our hands with soap. Yours come too.
Right. So very real how would I put it? Emergency situation happening previously in many of the rural tribes in Africa. So let me bring my screen back on here. What should we write down? So firstly, under Which category of pathogen is this? Ebola. Ebola is what? Where is my screen? My screen on already? Ah, okay. So how? What do you think, Angela? How is what kind of a pathogen is Ebola spread by? What kind of a pathogen? Yes, is Ebola spread by? Yes, virus. It's an Ebola virus. So then now you see that we discussed before as well, right? So then now COVID-19 how? Where?
You looking at virus I don't know. Oh, that's wrong. Okay, I thought that it's a mechanism because you see that two zeros.
I know lah. So the virus is over here. Okay, so it's under the virus pathogen. The disease is simply just known as the Ebola, right? Ebola disease. Second concept, scientific name of the pathogen. So it's a virus. It has a specific name here. We're just gonna call it. There are 6 different Ebola viruses. Right, so this is just one of them. Mode of transmission, you saw, right? Bodily fluid. We're gonna list down some of the more common ones. Blood, right? Contaminated blood. How else? Urine, can as well as sweat. Right, so it's very easily transmitted. So thankfully, you can see urine and sweat, for example, just the COVID-19 one, it's not going to be spread by these two. Correct or not? So Ebola is very, very dangerous because it's so easily transmitted, even on the dead. Correct or not? That's why they couldn't touch their dead family members. Okay. How it affects the whole. So we're looking for signs and symptoms. Fever, very, very common, right? What else? Lethargy, very good, right? Lethargy. Let's find out more. 5 in total out. So it's just bleeding lah. Bleeding. Okay. Right, so you can see, right, it's actually, there's a lot of overlap, isn't it? With flu, yes, the flu, right? Flu, influenza, right? Very, very common. Okay. Okay, excellent. Angela, any questions you want to ask? Which one? Sorry? No, you don't want. Right.
Oh, no. Like,
Oh my goodness. This is no, you don't want. It's just setting only. Very cool. Yeah. Wait, you watched Cholera before, so I'm not gonna rewatch Cholera with you. Find it on the playlist. Angelo, what's your assignment all, ah? You chose what, ah?
Tuberculosis.
Ah, tuberculosis. Okay. So that was on the story of Ebola. The next one, wait, can, okay. All right. The next one, I'm gonna move on to looking at the story of cholera. I shared this with you all before. What is another name of cholera? The plague was the Black Death. This was the Blue Death. Why was it? Due to extreme what? Lack of something, no oxygen. Water, dehydration. Okay, so again, same thing. Find the correct pathogen and fill in the information accordingly. Yeah.
This is the story of how cholera changed my village. Tiny germs of cholera, too small to see, spread through the river. So small, yet so dangerous. Without realizing, women carried cholera home in the water. Flies carried cholera on their feet. Unwashed hands spread it too. We swallowed cholera germs in our water, on our food, and on our fingers. It happened so fast. By morning, my father was very sick. He had diarrhea that looked like gray water and poured out of him. I was so scared. I went for help.
Nice. Find it.
I never rode so fast. One look at my father and the nurse knew it was cholera. We had to work fast to save him. We made a special drink to help him. First, we made the water safe. We filtered it through cloth and boiled it for 1 minute. Then we mixed half a teaspoon of salt and 6 teaspoons of sugar in 1 liter of this safe water. It tasted like tears, not too salty. I worried my father would die before my eyes, but he soon felt a little stronger. The nurse explained to me that not everyone who swallows cholera germs gets sick like my father, but they can still spread the disease. Now I needed to take safe water to my village and teach them how to protect themselves from cholera. I saw a girl carrying water. I told her she could make the water safe by adding chlorine drops and waiting half an hour. There was a man about to eat with unclean hands. I told him to always wash his hands with soap and safe water after going to the toilet. Only with clean hands could he eat safely. I saw villagers spreading cholera into our river. I told them we needed to dig latrines far from the river, at least 30 meters away. This was important to keep our village clean. I found a mother preparing unsafe food. I told her, first, we must wash our hands with safe water. Then, we had to wash and peel the food, cook it and always eat it hot, and protect it from flies. I spread the word throughout my village and ran to find my father. I was so happy to see he was better. Our village became healthy. Now we filter and boil our water to make sure it is safe. We always use latrines and always wash our hands after. Food is safe from flies, washed and peeled and cooked. And we always wash our hands before cooking and eating. We made our village safe from cholera. Spread the word. Your village can be safe too.
Okay, let's go. So maybe this time I would like to hear from Angela. Lead us through this, please, Angela. Cholera. What kind of a pathogen is this? Angela. Let's go.
I don't know how to call the pathogen name.
Which one is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which
Is
one?
it a virus?
Fungus, is it?
Yeah.
What,
No,
then what
virus.
the name that you put over here? Angela, who you were following, leh? Come, pay on to the rescue. It's a prokaryote because why? Bacteria are prokaryotes. Angela, okay, bacteria are prokaryotes. So what's the name of the disease over here we're looking at? Cholera. The scientific name of the pathogen is? Vibrio something. Oh no, it's the other way around. So scientific names, right? The first one is always uppercase. Vibrio cholerae. And then the E at the back. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so Vibrio cholerae. Oh yeah. See Streptococcus pneumoniae causes pneumonia-like symptoms. Okay? Alright. Canada, so mode of transmission. Wow, thanks for remembering that. Yeah. No, it's not a shape. Vibrio genus. No. It's the meaning of a Vibrio. Okay, mode of transmission. Drinking, not just water. Contaminated water. Infection means must be from the organism. Right? So, consuming.
What's the difference between like the words and the words?
Same. But usually when you use the word liquid, is more of like your experiments and stuff like that. For right now. But like the thing got difference or not, don't have. Okay? You are right. No, second thing. Well done. You're right. Okay. Right. How it affects the host? Extreme something. The first thing that we talked about just now. What else? And you see, the first four is about losing a lot of water, right? From both ends of the body. Okay, so blue death, right? So, okay, right. So these are the two that we are going to be focusing on because your syllabus is only on the bacterial and the viral pathogens here. Right, so I hope that this little introduction to other kinds of pathogens piqued your interest a little bit, especially about the prion diseases over here, right, where they are non-immunogenic. They are just deformed proteins. Then it just wreaks so much havoc, primarily because it's in the brain. Primarily is because it's in the brain. Right, very, very scary thing over here. We looked at different kinds of pathogens as well, the parasitic worms. And then we explored how Ebola and cholera are spread. Okay. All right. So let's jump right into some of the questions that follows as well. All right. Very, very straightforward. The MCQs, I've made them very, very easy. So let's move on very quickly. Which of the following is not an infectious disease? Which of the following is not an infectious disease? Very good. Diabetes is not an infectious disease. How does one, unfortunately, get diabetes? Huh? There are actually two types of diabetes. Type 1 versus type 2. Type 1 is actually genetic. Alright, you can also say that it's an inherited disease. Inherited disease, right? So this one is, how does it come about? This one we're looking at lack of or no insulin. Okay. Type 2 leh? Acquired, otherwise you can refer to it as it's a developed condition due to no, high blood sugar is the symptom for diabetes in general. Looking for causes. So in type 1, right, how I like to present it is actually insufficient insulin. That's too much insulin. Resulting in something. So as opinion is saying, oh, too much insulin. But the problem actually is not with the insulin production. Insulin production is normal. In people suffering from type 2 diabetes, you will investigate more next time. There's repeated exposure to insulin. I want you to think of insulin as an irritating neighbor. Always come and knock on your door. After a while, what will you end up doing? Okay, you cannot go away. You're a cell, ma. So first time knock on the door. Hey, hello, parent. You open the door. Hey, hello, parent. What are you actually gonna do? What's one word you can do that? You're gonna blank the neighbor. Ignore the neighbor. So over here, resistance or insensitivity. Basically, whenever insulin comes and say, hey, can you store more sugar, please? Yes, that's it. No, you're not even gonna say no. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, right. So there's something for us to look at next time. But for now, yes, answer is D, not infectious. Viruses, what kind of what are they? Are they fungi, bacteria, protists, pathogens? Because they are all of these are pathogens. Okay? All of these are pathogens. Yes. A pathogen, wait, a pathogen is any of these that results in infectious disease. Because not all of these result in infectious disease, right? Wonderful. Okay. Bacterial infection. Oh, this one. Hey, Angela, answer is Angela. Taylor, where are you? It's okay, here, come. Let's move on together. All right, tuberculosis, excellent. Thank you. Let's go. Question four, not a symptom. Pneumococcal disease. Yes. Swollen eyes don't have. Okay, swollen eyes, Okay, question five. I was very proud of this. Sally was sadly down. Angela asked how to have stiff neck is muscle soreness, tension. Okay, if the infection has gone to the muscles there. Okay, then you have muscle inflammation. Then inflammation means the cells will swell up. Stiff neck, lor. Can Angela? Awesome. Let's go. Sally was sadly down with a silly infection. Oh, I should have said that. Silly sadly was sadly down with an infection. Alright, which treatment or treatments helped Sally recover faster? Why are 1 and 4 out? What do you?
It's just about it, like, I don't know, like she read it on Facebook or something. I don't know what is like, it's a virus, so like it's not make sure you have a virus.
Very good. Thank you. Antibiotics do not help with viral infections. Taking a cold shower was what PN say, this person just read those boomer messages, right, on Facebook or something, say, hey, oh, I think if you cold shower, you will become what's that? Immune to death, right? It's the elixir of life. Right. Okay. The most taking a cold shower will do is make you feel cold. Literally. Because hey, it could become better because maybe if you're like feeling like super warm, you take a cold shower, but if you're not, then it may make it even worse. Isn't it? Okay. So therefore 2 and 3 are what we're looking for. Soft throat. So you alleviate, you reduce the severity of the symptom. We wrote that down in our notes last week, right? Reduce severity of the symptom, allowing the body to take over. Thank you for remembering that to focus on recovering. Okay, and then definitely resting in bed more is also allowing the body to focus on recovering as well. Excellent. I'm very, very glad that you are remembering all these things here. Okay, well done. Okay, let's have a look at what George is saying. We're looking for the unsafe one. Yes, thank you. Please don't ever. What was that one called? The one we watched the video, right? Tell that the smallpox one. That one is under variolation. You remember that? Okay, I give you a bit, a bit. If you survive, then you'll be immune already. Do you consent? Huh? Yes, that one. And the milkmaid, the dairy maid. Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's go. So the original variants are so actually 1, 3, and 4 are all like current practices as well. Okay. Of those four, which one will give me the longest lasting?
Attenuated.
What does attenuated mean there? Starts with a W, that's it. You should be able to remember. Absolutely, well done. Okay, so Angela, for this question, we're going to choose life and attenuated because we want to remind ourselves to be attenuated to is to simply as I can to explain to you, is just weakened. Okay, so it's not going to kill you. Okay, this one need you to understand this a little bit. So can I offer you 30 seconds to a minute? I read question 8. Try to understand what the graphs are trying to tell us. Graph A only, is it? Yes. Very good. Okay, graph A only. So why would we need a multiple doses because we can see that with time, the antibody concentration decreases. So what if this is the threshold? Your body needs to have this concentration of antibody to be considered safe, right? So if a vaccine follows this graph, what does that mean? The lifelong immunity one, right? So well done, Angela and Priya. The answer is correct, only graph A. Okay. Oh, answer keep wrong. Only graph A, Okay, question 9. Combat antibiotic resistance. We watched something similar related last week, right? About the misuse and abuse of antibiotics. Okay, all right. PN immediately chooses C. To combat antibiotic resistance, we should only take antibiotics when prescribed and complete the stated course. Okay, why you don't want to save costs?
Because you end up spending more because you want to last longer.
Very good. Thank you. What is actually very forward thinking. Well done. Okay. So leftover antibiotics are just a leftover food. Don't eat it. No, leftover food okay, certain time. But antibiotics is not about time. The moment is not from this particular condition or this particular person. Cannot be two people have the same condition, but you go doctor A, go doctor B, they give you different antibiotics. It makes me share lah, 菜饭. Okay, no Okay, easy. Last one. A story to tell you one. Read the story.
Like, that's not a party.
It's a study party, study party.
A tripod gathering.
What could have caused the spread?
T.
D, which means everything but 4. Why 4 cannot?
It's individually wrapped so you might touch it.
Yeah, so it's all sealed, right? Okay, can I answer Angela here for question 10? We're looking at D. 1, 2, and 3 are possible. Not definitive, but possibilities. Okay, let's go. Question 11, pretty cool, right? It's a very, very short question, even though they have a whole table there. Because I want you to be a researcher. What do we call a scientist that studies these kind of things? An epidemiologist. Alright, a person that studies how epidemics begin, continue, and end. Right? Okay, so imagine the varicella zoster virus. Result same. Chickenpox. Have you had chickenpox yet, then? Angela, have you had chickenpox yet? Okay, right. So we had 23 children present. One child had it, and then doctors contact traced all the parents and told them to report when their child first showed the chickenpox spots. So 4 days after, still nobody. 6 nobody. 8 nobody. 10th day, first child had it. So based on this information, for a total of relevance, highlight to you first. What was the range of days for children to first show chickenpox? Well done, 10 to 18. Go for that. 10 to 18.
Wait, for B it's 14 days, but I did the concentrated average, as it becomes like the most number of children.
Very good. Okay, I can see that and you really are an aspiring epidemiologist. Right? If things are all true, okay. So for this one, we're looking at 10 to 18. But here we're looking at 14. Oh, let's put 14. Question says time. So I need to give the value, the unit there. Why is it 14 days? Because on the 14th day, I had the mode number. Right? I had the largest number appearing. So that is what we're going to be have in our small sample size like this. This is our best guess already. Okay, of the incubation time. Is a average man. If you calculate, I don't think it's the average. We cannot take median. Median is a useless number in terms of these kind of things. Is it correct to say that? For this particular table, median is coincidental to the mean. Is it? Okay. Coincidence. But what we're looking for is the largest incidence. Okay? Okay, well done. So, chickenpox, faster, antibiotics. Let's go. Why it did not recover fast enough? One mark. Very good. Come on, have high standards. Okay, I know you can do this. Okay, so why did the child not recover any faster? So we are looking at the bacteria versus virus debate here, right? So, and how do antibiotics treat bacterial infections? That's the marking point there. How do antibiotics treat bacterial infections?
Oh, I think I'm losing confidence.
Yes, left hand. Is it like second last paragraph or something?
Produce
Preventing the
antibiotics target bacteria and preventing diseases, loss structures, susceptible to produce such toxins, or even the reproduction of the bacteria itself.
that is our first marking point period. Okay, come, let's put this down. Let's put this down. Make it a good habit to. The reason why I wanted to write it down, even though it's just there, is because words from your hands are words in your head. Okay, let's go. Sounds quite powerful. Wow. Prevent the bacteria from producing toxins or even the reproduction. So why does it not work with viruses? In what way? So when an antibiotic has been released into the body, how would the antibiotic know that this is bacteria? Yes, we're looking at structures to be able to attach or recognize. Okay, attach or recognize. Okay. Eh, Okay.
That's not bacteria.
Oh, that was a test fail and pass.
Okay. So bacterial is unknown. And if you want to make it like that, eventually out of me. Okay.
Absolutely, yes.
Oh, I thought you were saying.
This is a bacteria. This is a bacterial infection, toxin, component, structure. Okay, awesome. Let's go. Question. This, yeah. Enveloped virus. Enveloped virus. So, what is the case study of an enveloped virus that you learn? What is that virus in your syllabus? In your syllabus. Influenza. It is just commonly talked about, but it's not like strictly speaking. Wonderful, Angela. Structure X is a protein spike. What is it for? This is literally what I did just now. Okay, to recognize and attach to proteins on target cell membrane. Okay, okay, okay. I've given you a sentence of information here. In all eukaryotic cells, mitochondria oxidize glucose to reduce chemical energy for the cell function. Why are viruses? Why viruses cannot survive without a host?
And for it to function, so it has to attach to a cell for energy for that coalition.
Absolutely right. Very good. Both parts of the. Wow, well done, Ben. Very good. Aspiring epidemiologist. You tell me what it does not have and therefore cannot do. First marking point. Second marking point is after infecting, it therefore can do this. Okay? Well done. Let's go. Not only are we releasing energy, okay, I give you the next one. Synthesize something. Workers. We need to. This is the biological molecule that does work. You must remember, viruses at its simplest description. Proteins which contain is a protein bag containing genetic material. So when a virus infects a cell, it is essentially the protein bag, they is dropped already. I just need to do genetic material. So what's the biggest purpose there? The genetic material going to the whole cell already for what? so that the whole cell can TNT. Undergo transcription and translation to transcribe and translate the genetic material to synthesize. Okay, let's go. And the most of the things that go right, lah, yes. Because they are the workers. They do the things here. What are carbohydrates used? What's the importance of carbohydrates? They are used. What's the importance of lipids? They are used. Who use them? Proteins. Okay, when we get to the topic of which is next topic already, lah, right? I'll help you dive deeper. Okay. All right, come. Which part of this information that I provided is important for us to answer this question? Not structure X, structure of X. Very good. So why I vaccinate already? What did the vaccination do to me? That's the first part.
They have some form of immunity against that
How?
particular strain of like influenza.
What does it mean to have immunity to that particular strain? Come, flip.
So
Body, the whole body? Getting close? Not the whole body. Thank you. White blood cell, recognize. And do what? Do what? How? Not all of them do the direct killing, right? What about the range one? Ooh, what is this thing that I shoot out? As white blood cell there? Is the A word that you also forgot just now? Antibodies. Antibodies. Okay, so yes, it's not the whole body, not the entire immune system. We go straight along to our white blood cells.
stop. So this is the origin one.
A year later, agree? If I take the vaccination now, it protects me from the now strain. 1 year later, change already, right? So I was protected from the previous year. Actually, it's 6 months. Depend if you are if different hemispheres are right. Yeah, we are here. That's all. Okay. So when the virus mutates, yes.
So technically, you can have like two like very different viruses coming from the same and stuff.
Yep. right? And will not be able to target and attack this new influenza virus as quickly. Okay, dokie. All right. So, the last question over here, fairly straightforward. It is just an infographic. So, I wanted to sneak this question 13 in because I think it's kind of related to your WA, right? Okay, so about looking at the infographic, so maybe this question I will have you just spend like 5 minutes. I don't even think it needs 10 minutes. I ask that you spend 5 minutes on in your own time to do question 13. We will come back next week to review this and move on to our new topic of nutrients really. Okay? Okay, so Angela and Pian, as usual, please take a minute also to think about your reflection to share with the class before we call it a beautiful night. A is for antibodies. Very good. What is the thing that we eat? Anti biotics. Don't confuse those two things. Antibiotics and antibodies. Okay. Yes, and there's also antigens. Okay. Angela learned that the Ebola pathogen is the Ebola virus. Okay. Yes, absolutely. Right. Angela, hope to see you next lesson. And with that, we've come to the end of our this revision for infectious diseases. I will see you all next Tuesday. And for whoever is watching this as a recording, if you're interested, just get in touch. And I hope to see you in class as well. Bye.